It would help if I said hello while I was unmuted, huh? Mm. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a good Friday if you're on this side of the world. I hope it's a good Saturday if you're on the other. Welcome, Sheil. Hey, Rocket Couch, how are you? Um, how are you, Fish Nerd? And look at that. Look at that. Look what I did. Are you happy, Fish Nerd? Like, yeah, I think I might finally be over the resistance of the banner. Anyway, welcome to an end of week. And what a week it's kind of been. I've been, as some of you know, I've been kind of busy sitting watching a trial, Chad Daybell's trial. And we've been streaming everything that's been going on there. And we had our opening statements. They sat there dirty. We've got their opening statements in. We went through our first witness in a day and a half. And it was long, as trials are. First day was like 7.5 hours. The next day was only like 5. They ended early. And of course, no court today, which gave us the opportunity to put together a little something for you guys of everything else that's been going on during the week. Because, nothing stops for just one trial. We actually got a really, really busy couple of months coming up on next week on the civil or what the media calls the hush money case, but is actually election interference case, or in the civil criminal case brought on by Alvin Braggs, or that Judge Juan Merchan is sitting on against Trump. That starts next week. And I didn't prepare a presentation, but I will tell you that his last ditch or effort to appeal to have the judge dismiss the whole case because of extraordinary media coverage, prejudicial, and just tongue in cheek. That just made me laugh because most of the actual media keeping everything in the media light is due to his own tweets and actions. I mean, he's causing a lot of that himself. I mean, not, in fairness though, it is a big it is a big case, and it was big news, and yeah, it was everywhere, but like a couple of days before the trial starts, you don't get to like put in a motion like that and actually think anybody's going to take it seriously. Kind of tongue in cheek, he's had plenty of time to deal with this. He did give an interview this week to someone who said that he would actually go under oath, and if asked, he would sit and give testimony. He would actually defend himself in this trial. And so we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, that's not the bulk of what I wanted to talk about today. Just something that came across that I read during the week. But I hope everybody's doing well. How's my mic? Can you guys hear me okay? Mm. Oh, you're not breaking the caps rule? Okay, there we go. I did pin the oops, I got to pin it. I forgot to pin. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. I did post the true crime bingo card link to create a new card for yourselves if you'd like. It's up at the top of the chat. It's also in the chat there for everybody if you're playing bingo. I think not turning my mic on, it might have been a tech issue. I don't know. Actually, it was a dumb creator move. I don't know if we have that on there, but anyway. Hey, Mousy. Hey, Liam. It's nice to see everybody. Do you guys? I'm just gonna go through with what I have for you, like, cause it's in kind of order. I hate to do this to you guys, but the first one I want to talk to you about, you're not gonna like this. As a matter of fact, I can guarantee that everything I talk about tonight, like, you're gonna leave here and you're either gonna be pissed off at me or just pissed off in general, because this stuff was like, you thought last week was crazy, right? Like, when I tell you like what's going on now, like this misinformation and everything that we're going to try to clear up, and also just some of the case stuff, it's pretty hysterical. Anyway, I'm going to let the thing up all big. You can hear me okay though, right? Like, yeah. Thank you very much, Liam. Claire, you are clear. Okay, there we go. Good. All right. As long as you can hear me clear. All right, let's start. Okay, I am sorry. I am so sorry to tell you this, but In checking for Sarah Boone's updates for hearings to see if her new attorney had filed anything, well, all we could find, okay, is that the hearings, the pretrial hearings in the trial are canceled. There is a motion hearing scheduled for June 7th. Now, we know in February she got the new attorney, and the new attorney had filed to get like things paid for, get the investigation paid for. They did a lot of filings right away to make sure they dotted their I's and crossed their T's. He made sure that they were on there as the record, and that they could get the funding to get her experts paid for, yada yada yada. So they did a lot of work like right up front. They must have also spoken to the judge, but there's no motion on file. Okay. Now, this is in Florida, and we can actually go in there and look, but they do make some of the records public. So we're able to go in there and look. And all of the filings that the lawyer had made in regards to getting things paid for were there. But that's the last thing there. Besides this rescheduling that's done. So here we go. Now we got a whole nother month at it again. And that will be a status hearing on June 7th. And we'll see what happens. We'll definitely be following on that one. But you can see by my little avatar, like I wasn't happy. And when I posted this in other places, all we heard was the groans around the world. Well, not again. Yes, it will be what, past 4 years by the time she gets to trial, maybe even 5, you know? Exactly. Juju. Let me just put that one up. I'm wondering what that would look like. Let me just see. You're going to be my experiment. I'm going to see what it looks like. Yup. Of course they are canceled. Why wouldn't they be? It's Sarah freaking Boone. Exactly. I've heard that statement around the world. It surrounded me when I read this today. Of course. Okay. You're still going to call that stalling? Yes, you can. You can. Absolutely. It's the big stall. I mean, this whole case is nothing but a big stall, right? But I don't need to refresh your memories on any of this. There's plenty on my channel, and I'm going to do that YouTube thing and say, if you'd like to know more about the Sarah Boone case, hit the True Crime and Legal Updates playlist that's listed in the description and give those videos a view. How's that for like getting on the YouTube program? It's so uncomfortable. I hate doing stuff like that, but it's true. I already have it covered pretty fully in regards to all of the updates periodically. And so I have a question for you. Would it be easier when we are following these cases for so long if I make a playlist for the case, and it would include like all of the updates, even though they're with others, but at least when you search her name, they would all be in one place. And then also when it finally goes to trial, there would be a separate trial one, but also it would be included with this one. So if you search, I'm thinking it's a good idea, but I just don't want to make like 10,000 playlists. But it has come in helpful for things like the Masterson trial or Manson. I have used it. I did use it for the Johnny Depp one. I'm thinking if Sarah's going to keep delaying, we should get on it. We should definitely get on it, for that. There is one for the Chad Daybell trial that we're currently covering, so that you can see the days individually, All right. Mm. Yeah, exactly. That's what I should do. Insert Starship Trooper style. Would you like to know more? And if I was, and when I go back for editing afterwards, like there's a way for me to actually put a little flag up there that will actually list that playlist, which I probably am going to start to do. Don't mean to annoy everyone, but I don't put ads manually anywhere from start to finish in the video. Like they do start with them. I know that. There are ads, that YouTube ads, that I can't do anything about, but I can assure you I'm not adding a single one. Nope, not one. Here's Juju's catch up. You ready, everyone? Like tongue in cheek, I hope. I didn't even pre-read this, so hopefully I don't get caught with my pants down. Okay, Juju, I'll catch you up real quick. Sarah's lawyer quit. Repeat ad nauseum. Sarah wrote a long letter. Repeat ad nauseum. The trial is delayed. Repeat ad nauseum. That should do it. You're caught up. Exact. Perfect. That was perfect. Absolutely perfect, Juju. That sums it up. too many lawyers, too many delays, like too many. We're now on our second judge too. Juju, you nailed it. Like you could do this. Like you could do this. Yes, you could. It's a perfect summation. Perfect. I don't know if you have any questions, but I'm going to look in the chat real quick. Can't imagine anybody has a question about this. It's just like, of course it's delayed, you know. But I will say this. I I will say this. I totally expected this to get delayed when she got the new attorney. Absolutely. And if I was the new attorney, I would want a little more time too, regardless of how long it's taken. I mean, they just came on in February. She just came on in February. To have a trial in May for a case that's been open for years like this, especially one this serious. This serious case. She's not. Yes, this is the suitcase one. Absolutely, Rocky case. This is definitely the suitcase one in Florida. Mm-hmm. Yep. Sarah is noxious. Repeat ad nauseum. Yeah, she can be a bit. She can be a bit of a card. Yes, she can. Yep. Totally the suitcase. This is definitely the one whose significant other was in a suitcase and she went to bed. And there's a video of her taunting him. There's interviews out there. In this case in particular, a lot of the pre-indictment evidence is all over the media. Mhm. That's a good question. Andrew says, I don't know anything about this case. Are the lawyers quitting because she's insufferable? Well, the last one was pretty nice. And within a month, he said there was irreconcilable differences that she had literally asked him to do things that he couldn't consciously do, conscious, in due conscious handle for her. Like it was against what he believed or whatever. The one before that said that she called him names, that he couldn't work for somebody who actually had such a poor opinion of him. There were some in the beginning that had trial conflicts and, just caseloads and then just everyone. But she's also notorious for writing letters to the judge to get things done, like handwritten letters repeatedly to the judge demanding that things get taken care of for her. Like, it's a it's an odd one for sure. It is I guess we would use the word entertaining. This case of all the others is just always makes me just shake my head in like, I got to take it with a grain of salt and give a giggle. Like this woman is so entitled and full of herself. Juju says, in Sarah's defense, some quit because she sucks and some because they previously represented the person she killed. Yes, one of them did actually. Juju's right about that. Hey Juju, you actually said that because they previously represented the person she killed? Okay, did you? Did you actually realize? Because you're usually on her side about manslaughter and all of this. She was just like, she was just out of her head. So I don't know if you've changed your mind. And true, Chad Daybell is going to trial before Sarah. Like that's ridiculous, right? Yeah, yeah. But crazy, crazy. You're done defending her. I do. You know what? At this point, Juju, I don't blame you. Although you did have a very valid point about manslaughter. It did seem like, why are they going so tough for the murder thing? But then, after a while, you get to watch the interviews and you can see them, like what they thought was, what the allegation is that she was trying to manipulate, and her story kept changing and etc. If you heard the click, yes, that's my cat, my Coke, and you're going to hear a little pouring because my throat is not the best today. And I'm going to need to clear that out a little bit. But B is at the end of her tether. I do believe she is. It's a good try. Yeah, Rocket Couch, I agree. I do. You know what? It's a fair point, Juju. She says I do still contend that she was overcharged. When you look at everything, you'd think it would be a slam dunk the other way, for the manslaughter and just accept the charges and go. But it could be that she wouldn't negotiate, and that could be part of the problem with the lawyers. I've always wondered about that. If that we'll never really know. But if they're pushing her to plea, and the prosecution is offering a plea, and then she's just adamantly no, like that could be part of the problem with the attorneys. Well, we don't know. We don't know. But on that, I got another one. Yeah. You're not gonna like this one either. I got a bit to say about that. Okay, so bye, Sarah. We'll see you like in 2 months, okay? Like we'll see you after the next hearing. Or perhaps I won't be speaking on her until then. We'll see what happens, but we'll keep an eye on it. All right, the next one I want to update you on is New Mexico versus Baldwin. And now there hasn't been really a lot of activity. This is part of the Rust cases that we are following. We know that Hannah Gutierrez was convicted in her manslaughter charge. She was the armorer, okay, and she's going to serve her, what is it, 18 months in a big fine, a small fine, actually. What is it, $5,000? Anyway, well, she's waiting for the formality at all. She is appealing, okay, of course. She's appealing. She doesn't want to stay in jail. They don't blame her. Who wants to go to jail? All right. But we also know that David Halls also he served no actual prison time. He got probation and a fine, and he took a plea deal into his accountability. He was the assistant director and responsible after the armorer for handling the gun, and he's the one who handed the gun in the first statements to Alec Baldwin. Okay. Now, we watched Hannah Gutierrez's trial, right? We watched video of Alec Baldwin waving that gun around, not listening to the armorer, not listening to the director when the director said cut. We watched his bad behavior, right? Well, Alex Baldwin filed a motion to dismiss about prejudicial behavior of the prosecution and that they are unfairly painting him in a bad light. I kid you not. The actor, the big man, producer of this movie is out there whining that everybody's talking about this. Okay. But it gets worse. Not only does he say that the prosecution pulled his original plea deal way back, they offered him a plea deal way back when, okay, on purpose, and then came forward a year later after this, that, and the other thing, after he has valiantly proved that the gun was faulty, because he's actually stating in his motion to dismiss that he has an expert that can prove that the hammer was altered. The gun was altered in such a way that it could fire by itself. Now, they've already done forensic testing on this. In the first time around, they really didn't find anything and the gun was damaged. A recreation of the gun, the same gun, and further testing by more experts actually proved that no, you had to have your finger on the trigger for it to go off. And that Alec Baldwin says his finger was never on the trigger and he didn't pull it. Okay. They also showed videos where he often has his finger right there, waving that gun around when he's not supposed to, or laying on the ground, using it as a pointing device. To say that it was just bad gun manners would be minimal considering how I actually feel about it, but I will give him that. Now, he's got his motion to dismiss out there, and the prosecution has answered it. Okay. The prosecution has actually answered that. And what I'm going to do, I have both legal files for those of you that are actually interested in that kind of stuff. I will just drop those in the chat really quick for you. Oh, actually, this isn't the legal document. This is not a legal document. This is actually, the legal documents are in the library. And I can go grab them for you. Please, if you're not part of the library, please give me a note in there in the chat and I will drop it. But this is actually an analysis of SAG film and television safety regulations in regards to guns on set. Okay. This let's see what this one is. This is Alec Baldwin's really, really rude motion to dismiss. Okay. The prosecutors did a really good job of answering him, by the way. I mean, they absolutely really did. Let me just pull up some of those answers there. They actually, the defenders are going to defend against Alec Baldwin in this case because they're just annoyed. They're annoyed with the misreputation. He's actually in his motion to dismiss. The reason he wants his case thrown out is because the prosecutor assigned to his case was running for a government office at the time, and he feels that because he's famous, they're just ganging up on him. I mean, there's a little bit entitled there. Somebody died on your movie set. And I keep saying this, like he keeps pushing back with the woe is me and it's not my fault and I sleep fine at night and blah, 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 blah. He is a producer on this movie. He's going to make a lot of money on this movie. Okay. He's an actor. All right. Producers hire the people involved. You can't say it's all the armorer's fault when you're the one that hired the armorer. Okay. I'm not saying he's directly culpable for the actual action. I'm saying there are so many people involved in it, and they should all step up and take accountability. Someone died on that set. There were violations, safety violations left and right. Like grow up, Alec. It's time to actually take some accountability. He's coming off so entitled. I mean, if he has this kind of attitude in front of a jury, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. Like I can't. But this is what set me off. Mm-hmm. In his attorney went out there after this motion to dismiss. It says he shouldn't even be charged because he's an actor, and Mr. Baldwin properly followed safety bulletins. Yes, I said safety bulletins. Safety bulletins issued by SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild. Okay, that's all great. The Screen Actors Guild actually says that they should all have an armorer who's trained in the proper safety of handling in guns, and that armorer should give safety lessons, and that the actors should listen to the armorer. Well, if he properly followed the safety bulletins, then being a producer who hires the armorer, he should have made sure that she was properly credentials. He should have made sure that she was actually giving those safety lessons. And he should have listened to the armorer when she spoke to him. And when he climbed up a hill to shoot a gun and she was asking for that gun back, he should have gave it to her instead of standing there waving and pointing at other people with it while he was talking, giving everybody else instructions on the set. Like, oh, if you properly followed the safety bulletins issued by SAG, well, that's not what any of the video that we saw in the trial showed. And this is what's pissing him off. He says it's been painted in a bad light on purpose so that the media can try him. You're Alec Baldwin. You've already been tried by the media. You're not well liked, dude. That's my personal opinion. Like, I don't know that many people that actually like you. So I don't think this is a concern of yours in regards to this case. But anyway, it's Friday. I'm allowed to be a little snarky. I couldn't help it. Anyway, this is actually the response by the state in their actual motion back to for this defense's motion to dismiss. Their answer is Mr. Baldwin's failure to exercise his option to simply observe the armorer load the dummy rounds into the gun and visually and or audibly demonstrate to the actor that the rounds are safe, inert dummy rounds, was not a violation of the SAG safety bulletins. The prosecutors wrote in their filing, but it was a violation of New Mexico law. In other words, your bulletins mean nothing. New Mexico law, where you're filming, as a producer on this set, you should know these laws. You've got guns, you're doing a Western. Nobody checked this out. It's against New Mexico law. You being a freaking member of SAG doesn't protect you from the law. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Plus, I don't really care what the safety bulletin says when the 4 basic rules of firearm safety that everybody's been telling me, no matter who you ask, are treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Always point the muzzle in a safe direction. Be certain of your target, what's before and beyond it, and keep your finger outside the trigger guard until ready to shoot. Dummy rounds or not, common sense. Common sense. Something that seems to be a little stuff with something that's a little short for Alec Baldwin right now in regards to that motion. But anyway, that kind of lit me up when I read it. It really did. It really did. So now I'm going to look and see. That's all I have to say about that, by the way. Hmm. Yeah, innocent because I'm famous sounds familiar somehow. I hear you, Rocky Couch. It sounds a little too familiar. Okay. I'm annoyed. Not really. I'm in a great mood. I'm glad you're in a great mood, but Alec Baldwin annoyed me. He really did. Okay. I lose more sleep over that stink bug I threw in the snow years ago than Alec does over killing a human. You know what? This is what really got me. When he went in that interview and he's not losing any sleep. He told everybody he did nothing wrong. And here's the thing. Prosecution, they also mentioned in their motion, that they did offer him a plea deal, but they rescinded it. They rescinded it when they found out that, okay, two reasons. Alec Baldwin was in the process of suing the state for ruining his reputation. And also, Alec Baldwin was contacting witnesses to give interviews for a documentary he wants to do on the death of Hala Hutchinson. So distasteful. I don't blame the prosecution for pulling their plea deal. I wouldn't give him one. He's playing both sides of the road here. Innocent victim, while he's manipulating the system behind the scenes to make money off the tragedy, while he takes no accountability. It's infuriating for me. It really is. I'm just like, what? What? I don't blame the prosecution for pulling that plea deal. I'll bet you he wishes he had it now, especially after the Hannah Gutierrez trial, where he was front and center in front of the jury. And he saw the reaction of the jury. We all did. It was awful what was going on that set. And there's more than one person responsible. Alec, twofold. The person holding the gun and being a producer of the movie kind of makes him responsible no matter what. In some way. He followed the safety bulletins, except that one time he shot a loaded gun at people. Exactly, Juju. Whoops. Yeah, I followed them. Is he the Baldwin that had audio of him being an a-hole to his daughter? Yes, he is, Aunt Jared. That's why I said Alec Baldwin, it was really kind of tongue-in-cheek when I say, oh, he says that the media ruined his reputation with this case. His reputation was ruined long ago by his own actions. Like I said, there's a lot out there on him, and not a lot of it's good. Mm-hmm. I know. Nice job of New Mexico, wasn't it? Unfortunately, we're so glad you followed the SAG bulletin, Alec, but you didn't follow New Mexico law, so too bad. Too bad. Yep. Can we just do CGI or AI firearms in movies now? That would be an improvement. But actually, the industry is moving towards realism. They've actually, in this, I learned in this case alone, when we were learning about the Ross movie itself and how they really went, so had some difficulty getting the older type weapons that they need. They had to be made, or they had to find special manufacturers because this was a Western from the past and everything. So they're really actually focusing more on realism these days, and that kind of is scary. I do think CGI and AI would be safer. Yeah. But hey, it is. Hey, T King, how are you? Yep. Yes, that's what they said, that he was contacting witnesses to give interviews so that he could do the documentary. Juju, it blew my mind. He's got an open case in regards to this, and that's what he's doing. Yeah. Kind of floored me in a way. I would lead with that if I was the prosecutor. You know what? So would I. It kind of puts his greed out front, his selfishness. And if he takes the stand in his defense, I'm just going to say this right out. Alec, I don't care what your attorney says. I really don't recommend it. Me being part of the people out here in the public, I would just say, as soon as you open your mouth, it's over. It's over. Don't do it. Do not take that stand. Yeesh. I'm wondering if he will. You know what? I hear you, Rocket Couch. I'm not opposed to actual firearms on set. Just be stupid about it. Exactly. Just don't be stupid about it. Now, we've seen many movies that have guns on set. Like there, some of the public tragedies, like Brandon Lee from the Crow, in several others. We don't hear too much about it, but there have been accidents. Okay, but what gets me about this one is that there were safety violations prior. There was they were petitioning the producers. They had a walk off. They had an employee walk off that morning, and they still continued to push forward. Like whether or not they hit the right amount of people. Okay, there had been other incidences of live ammo being fired on this set, and it still wasn't shut down. Like there's a whole breakdown in process here. Like I say, there's more than one person responsible. If anything, it's the system that did this. The Hainle Hutchinson, the actual them not having any protocol for the violations, nothing being done when something goes wrong. Like it's just a failure of the whole process and everybody involved. I mean, yeah, did they follow the rules, the Rust producers, and hire an armorer? Yes, they did. But did they let her do her job? I've got some doubt about that after watching the trial. I actually think the evidence that they produced on there about the interference in her actually doing her job was palpable. I mean, she tried to get Alex to get certain things. She tried to schedule certain minutes and she couldn't. Now, she did get extra time. She did get extra hours, but she was intimidated. He was not just an actor yelling at her. He was her employer. He was a producer. And if anybody watched those videos and doesn't think that Alec Baldwin was throwing his weight around that set, I think you're blind, because you can see it in almost every shot. The way he's speaking to everyone, the way he is ordering everyone, cameraman, director, armor, you name it. He was telling everybody what to do. And now he wants to say, I followed the rules and it was up to the armorer to take care of all of this for me. I just washed my hands of the whole thing. I have no responsibility. The prosecution also mentioned in their motion to dismiss that if they caused so much distress to Alex Baldwin with all of this, like, then why was he sitting directly after the shooting in an interview? Okay, speaking with family members about going on vacation and saying he wasn't going to, like, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to change any of my plans. Let's just go have some fun on vacation. Let's not cancel anything. This is this, like, let's not worry about it. Let's go. They thought that it was just a deference. And here's the thing: you don't have to be the one to kill someone, but an indifference to life or not doing anything to prevent it when there's something you could have done does fall under the manslaughters. And this is why Hannah Gutierrez was convicted, because there were things she could have changed. There were things within her power to do that could have prevented this accident. And I'm sorry, there were things that Alex Baldwin could have done too. Okay. Yes, he could. He could have followed through with the training. He could have handed those guns back when he should have. He could have not had his finger on the trigger. He could have not been pointing it when he could have made sure. He could have watched the actual ammo being loaded. Is said that they should, if they're going to be handling it. If someone else is responsible for loading it, that they should check, or they should actually see visual. They should get a confirmation. Okay, they even changed who handed him the gun in their testimonies. By the time Hannah went to trial, they were trying to say Hannah handed it to him. She gave it to David Halls. And David Halls, in his testimony, had originally said that he gave the gun to Alec Baldwin. So there was like stuff going back and forth. Yeah, unfortunately, you're right, Juju. In the States, we don't take weapons away when bad things happen. Yeah. And Cheer's right. Clearly, we can't trust people to not be stupid about it. It's like if you can't act right, you can't have nice things. True. But unfortunately, we're not, like you said, we're not allowed to take the things away before the bad stuff happens. But bad stuff keeps happening, and we see it. And I'm of two minds of that, Couch. I agree with you. I don't know if taking them all away is actually a solution, and I get a lot of heat for that. I don't see that ever happening in the United States. You know? Mm. They would have called her a B. That is what they do to women that stand up and demand compliance. She had no shot. I didn't do that on purpose. Oh, yes, you did. And I love it. I do. And you're right, though. I was thinking this too. She was 24 years old. She didn't have a lot of respect on site. Not only that, she's the daughter of one of the most famous armorers out there. Okay. So, like, nobody was like, she was going to have a hard road anyway. Nobody was going to be, they were going to be giving her the what for. They didn't want to pay, like, they thought she was there from privilege. They didn't think she deserved her shot. They didn't think she had the training. But Alec hired her. So obviously he's responsible for the training in, in how well she does her job. So here we go. And you're right. But not to say that just because she was a woman. I mean, she was young and she was a woman, and they did not take her serious. But in all honesty, Juju, I don't think Alec Baldwin would have took anyone serious. I don't think he would have listened to anyone on that set. It's quite evident, like, when you're watching him, peacock around. Yeah. Baldwin wants to claim he is just the actor, but doesn't mind also claiming the producer fees. Exactly. He wants to make all that money, right? He wants to hide behind all that. Yeah, I get it. Oh, and Aunt Jer's talking about taking away guns on movie sets only. And I understand that, Jer. I understand that, Aunt Jer, from your comment. I just hope everybody else does too. Yeah, we're just talking about in the production. Like, if accidents like this, if we're going to be putting people in harm's way, animals, children, the elderly, other actors, people that work on the set, like, they're all at risk when there's live ammunition everywhere. Now, there's not supposed to be, you're not allowed to have live ammunition on any set. Okay. So that was a violation right there. And it happens. And that was the problem. And even after the Hannah Gutierrez trial, even after David Halls has already pled and took a plea deal, we still don't know how the live ammunition got on the set. There is no clear evidence as to how it got there. There's speculation, there's insinuation, but nobody proved anything yet. Like, that's crazy, you know. Well, okay, I have more. You ready for more? This one kind of cracks me up. Okay. All right. What really gets me is that I'm covering the Chad Daybell trial, and I really want to finish it because I have been following it since back when the children first went missing. And so I do feel it's only right to, kind of like, tie this whole thing up and cover that trial. But this Karen Reed trial really has gotten crazy, and it starts next week also. And today there was a hearing. And Judge Cannon, Beverly Cannon, she went through like 40 different motions on evidence with the state and with the state prosecution, and also with the defense. Okay. And Karen has some pretty savvy she has pretty savvy lawyers. She's got Yannetti. There's a whole thing going. Just in a nutshell, there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of like third party theory going on. There's even YouTube interference. There's true crime people in there. There's protesters, whatever. We talked about this last week about the putting in the buffer zone. It's 200 feet now. At today's hearing, that was actually executed. They were all out there in their new pink support shirts, for the free Karen Reed support. And then there's the Justice for John O'Keefe side. Everybody had to stay 200 feet back. But there was some really, really interesting things that came up. I will say that the actual hearing can be kind of boring, but there was a few things in there that I caught that were a little entertaining. One of them, one of the problems is that the defense, now this trial is, and the defense for over a year now has been talking about a third party defense based on this FBI investigation, because they say one of the investigators in this case, the lead investigator, Officer Proctor, knows the people who own the house and everybody in law enforcement that is involved with that house very, very well. And so like they thought something was fishy up. There's an investigation. We don't know if the investigation is in regards to him or because there was also a problem with the initial prosecutor who actually did have an official investigation in some and was removed. Okay. So it could have had to do with the initial prosecutor just based on her other actions in other things. It could have actually nothing to do with this case, but we're not really sure. But anyway, the Globe, the Boston Globe, and the Globe wanted the records of how this FBI investigation started because there was information leaked to a YouTuber that goes by Turtle Boy. He's been working, allegedly working with Karen Reed. There are text messages back and forth. There's a lot of contact. He gets a lot of information. And so the Globe wanted to find out how these two cases are going to be involved because since then, Turtle Boy has been charged with some witness intimidation and some a TRO with an ex-girlfriend of his and a pretty salacious kind of, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it. It's all just tit for tat back and forth, but the actual interference in this case is legit. I mean, that organization of protesters out there, they're all wearing merch from his channel that he puts together. And after they did the buffer, he posted, like somebody posted up on Twitter, and I don't know because you can make stuff up, but it looked like Karen had actually picked the color. She said she would like to see pink, and he just turned everything to pink the next day and got everything out there so the protesters are all united looking and stuff. So like there is some actual interaction going on there back and forth. But here's the thing. The Globe got everything released. But here's the thing. Both the prosecution and the defense do not want any of that evidence available for trial. Anything to do with that Turtle Boy and all of that. Nope. But here's what, because they don't want it spoken of by the witnesses. Because here's the thing, witnesses were contacted, okay? And there was intimidation going on and things were said, and they don't want that out there on either side, okay? They just didn't want to bring it up. But you know what the judge said? She said, I'm not going to limit what the witnesses say. If it comes up, it's in. I'm not banning it. If one person mentions it in the court, it's in. I thought that was brilliant because she's right. Why are we going to zip the mouth of everybody that was affected by what had happened? They're going to have to come and sit there in front of the jury, sworn to tell the truth. In what? They're not supposed to talk about that? No. I thought that was quite clever of her. She's going to see where it goes. And the other thing about this hearing that was just bizarre to me was that, well, first, we're still talking about the DNA evidence, the hair that the defense was claiming was a dog hair that's been proven to be a human hair and actually has got down to the DNA analysis that it could possibly be John O'Keefe's or a relative of John O'Keefe's. Okay. So they're getting down to that far, but the reports aren't in yet. So they're going back and forth still about that. Okay. The other things that they went over back and forth is the prosecution wanted to admit a lot of text messages between Karen and John O'Keefe, Karen Reed and John O'Keefe, that proved that at the time they were having disagreements a lot, that they were arguing, that John O'Keefe, there's testimony from his children, the adoptive children that he was taking care of, that he and she were arguing a lot, that he was trying to break up with her and she refused to move out of the house. There's video of a trip to Aruba that the prosecution wanted to admit that defense was adamantly said it had nothing to do with anything and it was a beautiful vacation trip and it doesn't. Although there was some arguing and she said, so what? Like people argue, it has nothing to do with it. But the prosecution will probably get it in because they could support that the arguing since Aruba continued day after day after day in the text messages back and forth between Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. So it does play to motive and state of mind. And it, even if the argument might be a prior bad act, if she was, whatever, or unrelated because the death happened much later, still. All right. I think that go in. The thing is, though, of all these 40 motions, she didn't really give her orders on any of them at the hearing. It's all going to come later. Another thing to note is that although the defense adamantly says there's third-party defense here, that somebody else did it, they have not provided any evidence or submitted a motion to say so. They have not done that yet. If the judge says you need to, I've got nothing on file. Like, we need it. Because the prosecution's right. You can't throw in there a defense when you haven't even provided it to us. Like, that's, you just can't just bring that up. And so they talk to the judge, about the kinds of things they're going to bring up, about the relationships of the people involved, about the fact that the people were upset with each other. Who was at the party at the time that was at the house to where he was discovered outside. Because the whole premise of the prosecution is that Karen dropped him off for this party. They were having an argument, and then she hit him with the vehicle and left him in the snow and came back hours later in the wee morning, trying to find him. They had been out drinking. They're going to prove that she was altered. They're going to prove that she says she was out driving around, or she was under the influence. Why was she out driving around looking for him when she knows where she left him? Like, she dropped him off at that house that the GPS says so. There's stuff going back and forth about the damage to the vehicle or whether the lens was cracked. But new evidence has come forward that they can prove the lens was cracked when it was picked up. They do have video of that now. They also have video of when they first discovered Karen, when the police there, and she was trying to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. She was trying to bring him, do CPR, and she had blood all over her face from it. And the things that she said. A lot of this, the defense wants to get eliminated. They don't want the jury to hear the statements that she made when she said things like what's being reported as I hit him. I hit him. And they don't want that in. It would be very damaging to their case, because their thing is, regardless of what Karen said that she did, they think somebody else did it. Okay. And they want to do this third party defense, but they don't want to say who it is that they think did it, or where the evidence is that is not against Karen. Now, in the defense's defense, it's up to prosecution to prove the case, right? They're the ones that have to prove the story in the narrative that they're putting out there on how this crime happened. So it's going to be quite the trial. In my after hours, after actually following Daybell all day, I will be following the coverage there, because it's fascinating what's going back and forth. How I feel about media and YouTubers or true crime people themselves interfering in cases. So this has everything in there. I mean, everything. I can't believe there's a whole separate case against Turtle Boy already, which there was back and forth that it was going to get dropped, this and that. But as far as I can tell, it's still active. I'm not going to follow that case too much. I think the media will take care of that itself. But I mean, anything that's actually related to inside the Karen Reed case, I will, just like now saying that the Globe wanted all that reporting. And basically, because of the story that they're doing about the involvement of Turtle Boy and all of this, that the people have a right to know what happened there. And I'm curious to read it. Like, I hope they do a good job. I will be happy to read that. Um, you know, uh, of course, the defense going with the third party, they're not really required to lay out evidence that a third party did it, or just enough doubt, I guess, with the jury. She does have some very highfalutin lawyers that have their own issues. The courtroom, it could be a little tense. Prosecution and the defense are not getting along like very well. I am curious to see if that DNA evidence does actually get in. The actual final reports won't be available until the week of trial. And so they're trying to get the defense to do a stipulation that will allow it to come in. They don't want it in, because they've been putting all over the media that it's dog hair and dog attack and all of this. And if they can prove that it's his hair and not a dog hair, that would be something. Well, you can check now. That's really all I have on Karen Reed. That actual hearing was this morning. Hey, Jen, how are you? Mm. Do you like the thumbnail? You mean the one that I did for the case, or the one for the individuals? Turtle Boy. What is this? Turtle Boy has gotten too big for his shell. I would say so, Liam. He's really outstepping outright lies that can be disproved right away. But you know what? There's a whole media prison. It's actually an organized thing. There are so many people posting about it. There's a whole free social media campaign of Free Karen Reed. Okay, then there's the other side, Justice for John O'Keefe. They go at each other constantly, including certain journalists and all that are covering it, back and forth, and they're not nice about it. It is nasty. It is definitely nasty. And I don't really want to do anything with that one at all. Did he get too turtley for the Turtle Club? Yes, he did. Apparently, they're saying that Karen Reed doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. But if she did actually send that text to him that says that pick the color pink, then actually she is still in contact with him. And apparently, I haven't seen it with my own eyes yet, but there's 135 pages of evidence now that has been opened up, some redacted personal information, but opened up into how this actual interference in FBI investigation started in what happened with the Turtle Boy part of it, and it's been released to the globe, and it's part of the public docket now. So anybody that has access to that public docket can get it, and if you do, hit me up. That's it. All right. That trial is going to be fascinating, Juju. It's going to tear me up to be busy all day. I'll have to watch it at night. Try to stay awake, All right. Are they still saying that the DNA evidence will not be ready for the trial? They're saying on the day of the DNA testing is done. It's getting the actual reports, the finalizations of the reports for next week, and getting them in time for the defense. The defense has a valid point. You're not turning it over until the day of trial is kind of unfair. How are we going to contest anything? Like how are we going to prepare? We got to get our own experts. You know what I mean? This has been going on for months and months and months. Part of the defense's motion to have it excluded was that it's the prosecution's own fault that it's so far. They had that hair for 2 years. They didn't begin any work on it until a year after they had it. Like, they're the ones holding this all up. They know labs take a long time. Why they did not touch that hair for a year when it was in evidence, she made a valid point, It's hard to say. Juju, there was a snowstorm at the time, and apparently he was found in the road at the end of the property, down the hill, not where their cars were parked. So unless like you were right near where he was, it was the middle of the night. I guess they didn't see. But that's a valid question. How come nobody saw the body? Right? He was out there from like 2:30, 3 o'clock till like 6 a.m. when they discovered. So yeah. Hello, Jean. Thank you for the gropes. Gropes all around. Hello, Lucky. Nice to see you. Get a good sleep there, Lucky. Thanks for cruising through. The thing about dogs is they never snitch. This is true. This is true. Your dog's not going to tell on you. Oh, the thumbnail for this case? Yes. Thank you, Rocket. This is a very messy case. It is so messy. I agree with you. It's fascinating me. Do you cover trials from other countries? I think it would be interesting for the murder minions from the outside the U.S. to submit cases that are making waves. I do. I have covered Megan McCann. I have covered a few from other countries. I'm going to be looking more into the woman who killed family members with the mushroom dinner, stuff like that. There's a few from Australia. But if anyone, you see, the thing with covering cases out of state, out of the country, is access to the actual records. Like, I like documentation and not just media recording. You know what I mean? I do a lot, like in the UK. I covered some things there. I also, right now, I'm covering Andrew Tate's Romanian trial. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes, whether that gets there or not. But I'd be very interested, Andrew, and feel free, if you're in the library or even if you're not, contact me of cases from around the world that I would be interested in. Quite a few people do post them in the library, and I do check things out. But a lot of times it's access to good quality information. I like to source things from more than one source if I can, and try to get like real solid information out in with backup. Well, it was definitely something that I would be interested in. Absolutely. Good thing they weren't partying in a graveyard, or the police would still be processing the bodies. You're right, Gene. I mean, it's very funny. You're very right. Okay, you're absolutely right. Okay. Hmm. Okay. One thing. Okay. I have to switch one thing and then put this back up. Okay. Is that back up? Did it go back up? Mm. Oh, there it is. Wasn't actually a tech error, just a slight delay because it wasn't showing up properly. Okay. I think I'm ready. You ready for the next one? Mm, let's see. Mm, all right, here we go. All right. I'm doing well with the tech. Thank you there. All right. Today. Okay, I hate to tell you these people. Okay, I do. But the hearing today for Andrew Tate, where we were supposed to find out from the preliminary chamber judge that it was going to go forward to trial, that Deco had given enough evidence and it went through the screening, which is part of Romanian process and nothing else. Okay. Um, the case today got delayed again until April 26th. Again. Again. And I think I spelled preliminary wrong. Like that looks terrible up there. That's totally wrong. Why didn't it get caught? I know, Boo to the next one, but you are ready, right? Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Okay, this is not good. All right, but I do want to tell you that I have something for you. We now have a portal to the case in Romania. Here you go, people. There you go. Now it's in Romanian. Good luck. But we have access and we have translator, and we may be able to actually get the real deal a little more often now. And I'm not happy about this being delayed. I'm really not. The other news in regards to this is that Andrew Tate is going to sue someone in the media. Uh, is suing a prominent media outlet for wrongful conviction for saying that he was a human trafficker. Okay, The Wire put out an article in. They used the word convicted in the article, in Andrew Tate's defense. He's not been convicted yet. This it absolutely has a case here because he has not been convicted. He is accused of several alleged sex crimes, in possibly human trafficking, in many other things. Okay, he and his brother. Okay, and spent months in custody, and is now awaiting the deposition of whether he will be sitting on trial or not. um, but anyway, The Wire put out that article, and I'll let you guys read about this too. Hopefully, this isn't too long. Um, I'll let you read on it too in your spare time if you'd like. The article is saying that The Wire did come back and correct it, but that's not good enough. This is what Andrew said. He said, "I'm about to sue them into oblivion for lying. I have no criminal record, and I have never been convicted of anything. The money these scum pay me will be used to feed starving children. Every single penny will go to TatePledge.com. We turn evil into God's light." Aikido. I wanted to barf. Sorry, guys. Like, I totally do. If he actually does that and it actually does feed starving children, I want to see the evidence. Okay. Now, Wire quickly said it corrected the story. But Tate came back later on the socials and said, "Nice try, Wired. The damage is already done. See you in court." This all played out on Twitter. I kid you not. And it looks like he's going to just look for some money to finance all of these lawyer fees that he's got going on right now. But you know what? They shouldn't be saying convicted. They really shouldn't. I kind of agree with him with that. you know? That's not fair, you know? Alleged human sex I mean, alleged is listen, just saying alleged human trafficker is enough, okay? You don't have to go into the misleading information. Just saying alleged human trafficker should be enough for the article. Don't you agree? I mean, and can you believe it? I'm actually sticking up for Tate here, but not necessarily Tate, just anyone that is charged with anything in the system. The words alleged and suspected and, unconvicted or still to be tried are important. Okay. Because in the process in Romania, he's not even out of the preliminary state. It goes through the judge panel first to make sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed before it goes to the actual court system. And they do it that way to save time in regards to evidence, proper procedure. Okay. And that is their process. And he's not even through that part yet. Okay. Well, the other thing I wanted to tell you is that there is a little bit of a risk here that things could get overturned in with Tate. In okay, we're gonna talk about the prosecutor that has led. There's rumors on the socials, started by a lot of the people involved in Tate's circle, that the prosecutor was tossed from the case, that the prosecutor left the case because it's a bogus case. These are all nice release spins. They have a little kernel of truth. You know how that goes with all this rumor and speculation. There's always a little kernel of truth. And the truth is that the prosecutor is moving away from the case. But it's because in December of 2023, he was offered a promotion that he had been looking at. And so he will be accepting a new position in a different part of the court. Okay. There's a lot of speculation as to why he would leave. This is a very big, high profile case, and it probably would have did his career well. But he may have been eyeing this job for other reasons. And he's definitely taking it. He was promoted in December. This is nothing new. And it's not because his case is being dropped or because the case is invalid or because it's under investigation. All of those rumors are false. I could find nothing on any of that. Okay. Some of the information I get, I've been saying murdered by crayons because they do get information right out of Romania. Yes, they do. They have sources. One of them being this journalist, Mercer Rado, who actually gave us links to the Romanian sites and anything that is public that he's allowed to share, he does. Sometimes they do the translations. Sometimes they leave it up to us. Okay. But basically, there's actually no rumor for the case being tossed because of this prosecutorial thing. The other, but that doesn't mean that the case may not get tossed. Okay. Because the other thing is that Tate attorneys have made the option here that one of the reasons that they may be taking so long to get through preliminary is the claim that they weren't declared suspects soon enough, so they could not prepare an adequate defense. That DCOT had enough evidence early in their investigation to say that they were suspects, but chose not to for quite a while they still investigated. Now, in Romanian law, you do, like, when somebody comes under serious suspect and getting towards charges, they let them know. They let them know they're a person of interest or a suspect. We have similar things here, but not as rigid. Okay. Because there was a couple of months that they didn't know, this is how they're going to try to get the case tossed out. So this is the angle I'm really interested in. Like, I wonder, could that be? Like, could that actually happen? If this case gets tossed because they didn't let him know that he was a suspect while they were investigating him early enough. I mean, they did while he was investigating, but they're saying it's a matter of timing, that it should have been earlier. There was enough evidence there. I'm fascinated. I am fascinated. Hey, look at the trees. I can't even. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you guys going? All right. Are you? Yeah, wait. Oh, Angie, I did spell it wrong, huh? I'm gonna fix it. Thank you. I will go and fix that. I don't want that up there. Like, that's terrible. I should have spot checked it, but I did it last minute. So my apologies, people. Like, how bad a look is that? But hey, I'm human, like we all are. Oh my gosh. Are you guys accusing Andrew Tate of being an Oreo lover? Really? Oreo cookies? Don't start in the chat. Like, there's gonna be like a riot in the chat if you do that. Okay. Um, but I would give him all the Oreos. He could have all the bad Oreos. Oh. Yeah, he wanted a heads up so he could flee. Yeah, he wouldn't have been there. If they had told him that he was, that's the other thing. I wonder if that will be the actual defense for not giving him too much of a heads up, because he has been such a flight risk. This is why the courts held him under custody, and they still have him on a you can't leave Romania or order at all, because of the assets and the ability to just go away. I guess it could. I guess it could, Rocket Couch, qualify as a tech issue. For me, it's a tech issue. I didn't dot my I's and cross my T, you know? Yeah. Just read my chats and take comfort in all my typos and miswords. Thank you, Juju. Like I said, I'm human. Like, it happens. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Thanks for your time and attention to detail, Claire. I'm working and lurking, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That is a nice thing to say. And I think that qualifies for stroking the bear on the bingo card. That actually made me smile. Look at the trees. Thank you for taking the time to say so. I I appreciate you too. Hey, Mark. Oh, hi. We can all be one letter off at the best. Oh, Mark, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're giving me like a good lift up of spirits between you and look at the trees there and Juju's support on all of these. I get it. And thank you, Aunt Jerry. It was only one letter, so it's not so bad. But thanks, guys, because now like this next story it just really I'm sad about it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Tommy Whisperer. I did not misspell that word. I did not. Now I'm sad. Now I'm sad. They're cackling like an old hag up here. You guys got me doing. But thank you. I needed that. I needed that because could you tell? I said, how am I going to like keep myself in check? And I purposely put the funny emojis on there just to keep myself calm about how annoying this stuff was. Like, seriously, seriously. There is more. There's one more, and it's really annoying me. It really is. Yeah, Tommy enters the chat. I like it. You know what? That needs to be on every bingo card. Every single one. Tommy, because like that's a thing on my channel anymore. I can't do without Tommy Wizard. I'm sorry. Room references, they get me every time. I am so hooked on that whole vibe. That of the whole hilarity of the unintentional best comedy ever just gets me. The whole irony of the whole situation. I love it. I just love it. And Tommy Wiseau, he is just like an icon. He's famous. He's famous for not being as famous as he's famous. You know what I mean? It's like so good. Exactly, Gene. If I don't screw up, then I'm not doing a whole hell of a lot. I gotta screw up here and there. Otherwise, I'm not busy. Like, right? And actually, I took my time this morning, to do the presentation, but I really could use spell check. I really should have. But anyway, you all knew what I meant, right? And it gives everybody that comes back later something to point and laugh about, because even though I will change it on the presentation in case I use it again, it's documented for life on YouTube. There's nothing I can do about that. Like, at all. That's it. That's it. An unintentional bad movie, if you shall. Yeah, an unintentional great movie. Also, it's the unintentional comedy that that's how I like to refer it, because he did not mean it to be a comedy, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, and especially if you watch it in a group, which I highly recommend. I do. All right, let's go. I'm going to go to the next one. I'm in a good mood now. I am. I can handle the next one, and I hope you can too. Like, here we go. Ready? Baxter versus Sea Org et al. Now, we briefly talked about this with the chat when I did the case updates on Scientology the other day. I think it was last weekend or on Saturday, was it? Um, and I follow the three main ones, Bixler et al. Versus Scientology and Miscavige, in Leah Remini, and also Jane Doe. I've been following those, everything that's happening. And there is some more movement in there that we got to talk about, but not right now. I'll do another one on those. This one is very unfortunate because we were talking about religious arbitration in the contracts, right? Now, Sea Org is where they have everybody working. You're actually employed at Sea Org. There's employment there, and that's key to know. Everyone works there in an official capacity of support. It's like their military organization. The problem, well, just in a nutshell, this case, okay, let me just bring up the other slide for you. All right, just basically, this case involves three individuals, Valeska Paris and Gawain and Laura Baxter, and they were suing Scientology for labor trafficking in basically because they started to work at the age of 10 in the Sea Org, hours that are so damn long. When it comes to the lawsuit, it's in regards to how much, when you take the room and board and everything else that they say they're providing and the actual what they get, that they were so far under minimum wage and violating children's laws, okay, in regards to labor laws in the states and everywhere that they were, okay, that Scientology just feels they can do what they want and they're above like whatever these regular rules are. But of course, they all have contracts. They do. Well, 10 months ago, a Tampa, Florida federal judge, Judge Thomas Barber, he had ruled, okay, that the Sea Org workers that were filing the suit needed to go to religious arbitration because they were employed and there is a contract. And the contract is valued because of the employment, okay? But he also allowed them to appeal. Normally, they would have had to go to the arbitration first and then do the appeal. But he allowed them, the right to actually petition the 11th Circuit Court there for interlocutory appeal. Okay. But unfortunately, now it's been 10 months later, and that 11th Circuit has said that they will uphold Judge Thomas Barber's ruling, and that these three, before they can sue or do anything, have to follow Scientology's religious arbitration procedures before they can sue them in a civil court or anything. They denied the petition to have the thing overturned and the case to go forward. So the three have to follow Judge Barber's order, and they have to go to religious arbitration, which we all know is a joke. Nothing's going to happen there. Nobody but Scientology ever wins in religious arbitration. And I just realized that with my banner on, you couldn't read the last line. So off it goes. Okay. In that little tier, I really am sad about this because it took a lot of them. They have a lifelong history of abuse and things that happened in the Sea Org to these three. It took them a lot of strength. This case has been around for a long time. Okay. And it just doesn't seem fair. It really doesn't. I have a couple of things for you. First, I have the judge's opinion as to why he's making them go to religious arbitration. For me, this helped me understand. Okay. This helped me understand where the judge was coming from, because the reason the judge automatically allowed them to appeal it is he was kind of having some trepidation about it. Okay. He definitely wasn't solid in regards to it. It seems like even he thought it was a little unfair. Okay. It was the actual context of the case, what happened to them as children, what they were forced to do, the conditions that they were under. Kind of, there are other cases in regards to it. There is some precedent to where this kind of stuff happened in even a less severe case, to where they just canceled out the religious arbitration and just let them go to trial. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future after the religious arbitration. I don't know. I do not know how um it's going to proceed after that, if they can even proceed after that. Because basically, the motion to dismiss from Scientology because they have not followed religious arbitration is granted. So the case is going to be dismissed. Okay. Um, the other link that I posted for you is Tony Ortega's Substack on it. His blog. He also has the Underground Bunker. He's been following this. He has a lot of the documents on it. He follows all of it. You know, it's unfortunate that this has been derailed. And like Tony says, he says it's a mockery of justice when when Scientology gets to do this. The use of certain keywords in certain legal procedure that they get to use to get out of answering for everything that everybody is saying that they're doing, you know. But now the three of them have no choice but to submit to Scientology's internal arbitration scheme. And well, it makes me sad. And I thought you all would want to hear about it too. It's not one that I had put in the forefront when following the Scientology cases. It's not one that I brought in detail to you. We have talked about it casually while we followed the Masterson trial, and while we talked about the Bixler case and some others, we did bring it up, you know. And I don't know. I don't know. It just it that's it for this one for now. Able If they're going to be able to follow later. I doubt if they're going to be able to refile without some kind of problem. I'm sure that then they will actually be saying, they being Scientology et al., because they are doing the Sea Org, the Church of Scientology International, the Research Technical Center, David Miscavige himself. They're not just suing Sea Org, which is the fleet, whatever, Scientology fleet, whatever. There's a big long name for it, but we all know just Sea Org, so I put that there. There's a much longer name for it. Well, we'll see if they're actually going to refile, but that one's dead in the water for now. Like that, I would consider that since it's going to be dismissed as closed. Yeah. Oh, I need to add a bad contract square. That's a good idea. That's also a really good one. And snake oil subscription service. Yes, it's a good idea. Pocket couch. It's a good idea. No, Baxter was not Jane Doe. Jane Doe is Jane Doe 1 from the Masterson trial. This is Laura Baxter and Gavin Baxter, a married couple, and Vesla Parker, 3 who were children when they were joined Sea Org, I think at the age of 10, and talk about human child labor laws in violation of labor laws throughout the organization, unfair treatment, and etc. Punishment, undue punishment, emotional distress. Like, wow, crazy, crazy, crazy. Yep. I mean, Baxter, one of the Baxter, she could have used Jane Doe for something else, at one time. And Shill is singing Bon Jovi in the chat. I think that's Bon Jovi. Yep. We got to hold on to what we got. Doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We've got each other, and that's a lot. I love me some Bon Jovi. Thank you. They use the Sea Org to split children from high-ranking members so they can concentrate on the church. Exactly. And so that was the whole premise there. It was a well laid out case. But actually it is that religious arbitration that derailed it, not the facts of the case. Arbitration in Scientology equals protect the church. Pretty much. We get to do protect the church at all costs. Pretty much, yep. I would agree. Hey, Rocket Couch, she wants to know if singing in the chat qualifies as mod shenanigans. You always qualify as mod shenanigans, girl. Like, I don't know what you're talking about there. Like, singing or not, you're always doing something. You used to change your name all the time. I never knew who you were. It's crazy. Hmm. Yeah, we could do a sing along or a dance off. I mean, I love to do the dance offs in the library. I do love that. Let's all go karaoke. Yeah, maybe we should after this. Like, I'm about to wrap up. That's almost an hour and a half. Thank you so much for letting me do this at the end of the week. I'm thinking I may do them on Friday nights or Saturday at the end of every week while the trial is going on. I hope the fast-paced format is not, annoying you too much. It's hard to get into deep dives. I still am on some of the cases. There's still stuff going on with P. Diddy that we got to talk to. Keepy D, Dwayne Davis. There's stuff with that, Viper. Still stuff with the Clinty case. There's quite a few, the Rose Petal murders. We got Bryan Kohberger too. Oh, here's the other thing. I did want to mention Bryan Kohberger because I did tag him in my video. They had another hearing in regards to the survey poll that was done, and they did get to have the judge listen to the expert witness, being the person who did the poll, and he presented a very good case as to why everything was there, but they were still trying to say that those two questions, the one about the stalking and something else, actually came from the indictment, and they didn't. I read the indictment over again, and there is no inference. Ann Taylor actually just said that because they said that they had GPS of where he was and what he was doing, that actually inferred that he was stalking. And I was like, that's really taking a stretch there, Ann. Like, you're really getting desperate. I was a little disappointed in her when she did that. They should have just said that, like the expert was saying, it all came from the media, and he's right. What Ann Taylor's trying to say is prosecution's fault, that they put the information out there. Like, she is really trying to make a biased case here, and she's grabbing at straws in certain areas. And unfortunately, Bill Thompson, the prosecutor, he's not exactly acting calm and thoughtful in his answers either. They are both being snarky AF, if I may say so. And it's a little disheartening. Like, I expect better out of both of them. They're excellent, excellent attorneys. Ann Taylor actually used to work with Bill Thompson years ago. They had a good relationship. It was going well, but there seems to be some tension and desperation here. Anyway, everything's going to date delayed. What they did agree on is that they were going to have hearings for filings on motions. They have extended the time for filing the motion for change of venue. They are going over the procedures again for how this survey and everything will be done. They will be meeting again and in agreement and blah, blah, blah. Final rulings. They agreed on dates on when those hearings would be, when the filing dates would be for both the final filing dates for the defense and for answers from the prosecution. So there was some, for Judge at least, there was some movement forward to getting the whole thing solved. But there still was just a lot of like back and forth and accusations going on. That's really not necessary. I mean, you don't have to agree it's prejudicial or not, or this and that, but to actually, everybody is so worried about having the finger pointed at them for blame. They're all acting highly defensive and defensive, like unnecessarily, okay, and attacking unnecessarily. Makes me very sus. There's something is wrong here. Somebody did try to pull something here, or someone's just, I do think Bill Thompson was whining a little too much. He did have some points, but he didn't have to do things the way he did either. Both sides have points here, and common sense, unfortunately, left the courtroom. It was just everything else. Common sense was not there. I mean, Bill Thompson actually accused the witness of crying about something because he got his feelings hurt. And the man said, I'm not crying, I'm frustrated. And that was kind of rude, you know. And Bill Thompson actually snarkily answered back, I'll take that in consideration when questioning about your feelings or some bullshit like that. It was very, very snarky and rude and not necessary. Okay. Now, this expert witness did go up there and act like he's the only one that knows anything about this. Now, he does know a lot. It's what he does for a living. but he didn't want to be questioned. He wants you to take his word for everything. And he did cite some surveys and stuff that proved some of his documentation, but he did also act very annoyed that he had to do that. He acted very the whole tone from the defense was quite uppity. Like, we know what you're doing and you fools don't, so we're going to educate you on it. And it was a bit offensive. At least that's the tone I took from it. The Kohberger case, like East Idaho News has that actual hearing on file, and so does Law and Crime in several. I recommend East Idaho News because they don't talk during it. They just show the hearing, um, kind of like I do. And then Nate Eaton will talk about it later. And also, I'm sure he has something to say. A couple of the other lawyer channels talked about it too. There's a lot back and forth. I like Tragos Law. He was also like a little surprised at what the questions were. But like me, he's like, well, people do surveys. Like, we know that. Like, this does get done. But is it actually prejudicial? The actual the expert actually said that there was a very small amount of people out of those 400 that did not know about the case or something of the case. And I think that's going to be everywhere, though. It's a matter of how much do they know about it that matters. And that's what he used as the reasoning as to why the questions were so detailed, because you get a better result on the survey on actually how far the bias is, how much bias is there. What have they heard? How far did the media reach into the area? And in that point, I have to grant it to him. That is the only way to prove that. You can't get that from a yes and no answer. So, both sides had points, like I said, but it does appear common sense has left the building for a little while in regards to that hearings. We'll see what happens. The next one's in May, I believe, or around, and we'll see what happens there. And I'll update you again. But on that, I'm going to say good night, and hopefully I will see you all Sunday. Yes, Sunday, fun day. Let's have some fun. And Monday for trial. It is going to start at 10:15 because it starts at 8:30 in the morning in Idaho. And so I want to make sure that I get everything up. I did intend to start at 10:15 yesterday, but we had a little bit of technical issues getting the feeds to run properly, and I didn't want to go live until it was working properly, so you didn't have to actually watch all that struggle, so to speak. But anyway, I should put the banner on to go, huh? I took it off for that call me, and then boom. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was unnecessary for him to do that. Yep. That's why witness is the a-hole is on the live trial bingo. It should be. It should be. It could be for, yep. It is a great square. I do like it. Yep. Jin, I said earlier in the stream, he actually told a reporter this week that he's willing to swear, to go under oath, which he didn't before. He didn't want to go under oath, like when he did his testimonies. He just wanted to give speeches. But now he says he'll go under oath on the witness stand to defend himself. So I'm really curious if he will. But like I said about Alec Baldwin, I don't recommend it because sometimes it just gets worse, but I'm sure it will be great for the media. But remember, no cameras in New York. We're not going to see it all, but we do get some court drawings. The New York, one of the New York papers always has them in there. It's pretty good. Sunday, we explore philosophical debate of nothing matters. Please join us in our pursuit of truth. Yes, that will be 7 p.m. EST on Sunday. And otherwise, I will see you all on Monday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy your Saturdays. Thank you for joining me on a Friday evening. Have a great time. I'm going to hit the outro button now and say goodnight. Thank you. Hope you hit the back. Oh, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Hit the comments on the back of the video if there's more you got to say or if there's something you want to know about. Also, if there are other cases you are interested in. I mean, I do have a lot of them, but I'm always interested in looking up other cases. I do a lot that I don't even bring out here on the YouTube just to find out about them, but I'd like to check them out. And I'd like to know what you're interested in, not so much just the like crazy media coverage that we have everywhere, Like it's not always the ones that are trending that catch my eye. It's those little unique things. And I think you'd be interested. And if you see anything like that, let me know. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.